one thing I think is really important that I talked to you about, in July 1st, 2012, new rule came into place, a couple new rules that I want to cover with you. They're financial aid based. One is the 150% rule. And so this goes back to talking about preparing for your, preparing and knowing what your vision is and researching that. Because you get 150% to financial aid in order to complete the degree path that you sign up for. So it's really a tough spot to be an undecided person. When I went to school, it was a little bit different. I went from history to political science to something else to eventually education. And the federal government said, you know what, that's okay, we'll support that. Right? They don't support that path anymore. You have to come in with a better idea of what you want to do, and you got to stay that course. Right? You get two options really. You could have one do-over where you go in and you completed 35 credits, maybe 35 or 45%, and decide you want to switch to something else, and automatically your clock starts over. You get another 150% to finish. If you go through that program, let's say it's nursing, you get all the way through, and you take your CNA class and go, oh, I cannot stand the sight of blood. This isn't going to work for me. And you're 85% in and you want to switch to something else, financial aid is going to red flag that. They're going to have you come in and sit down with me, and they're going to have me fill out a program planner to make sure that you can finish your next degree path within whatever time you have left, within that same 150%. Does that make sense? Yes. Yes and no. Okay? So I'm going to go into this where you get the opportunity. So there's really three areas: transfer, professional technical, and the undecided. You don't want to be the undecided. It's almost better to not start classes until you know what you want to do, as opposed to being undecided and bouncing around. Right? We have the Career Center. We have resources to help you if you are undecided. We have workshops set up for that. Now that you're decided, you have the transfer and you have the professional technical. All right? So now with the transfer, that has a lot of different areas in it. It could be political science. You're a political science major and you switch to, I don't know, English. Or you become a math major. A lot of the same classes work for that same path. So it's almost like you're not starting over again. You don't have to worry as much. It's when you go from the transfer student over to professional technical. You go from a math student to a welding student. Now that's a problem because those classes in transfer don't fit into the boxes that are for the welding program or any professional technical, or vice versa. So that's where the 150% rule really kicks in. Does that make sense?
I wonder if you'll now do having 150% and then you've got 80% of it accomplished and then you switch and then you should go back to 150%. Does that mean you have another 150% to work with, or is it the 150 minus 80?
The third go around, you have that 85%. So 150% subtract the 85. Okay? When you first start out, you have 150%. You go through whatever you go through, you switch, you get another 150%. But you're on that last 150% for the rest of your time. Okay? So some people do it the right way, and the right way is I know what I want to do. I go in and I get that first degree completed. And now I'm going to sign it, and I don't want to go to a 4-year school. I want to go and do this program now. And you start over, you get another 150%. And then you get to complete that under your 150% guideline time. Does that make sense? That's how people walk out of here with 2 degrees. Now, if you go to a 4-year school, the whole time clock starts over. We separate. But this works 4-year. But if you go 2-year to 2-year, that stuff follows you. Okay? You're good. Okay? Because it's a different amount of funding. The amount that it costs $504 per credit at Washington State. It costs $88 a credit here. Right? Definitely different levels of financial aid. Yeah, right?
But then if I decided to teach grade school, there's no requirement. That would just be totally a separate thing from this school here.
So the question is there, if I want to teach elementary education, or if I want to go past and maybe teach middle school, there's additional requirements. You will complete those additional requirements at the 4-year school, which will start your path over with that. Okay? All right? Now, that's rule number 1. There's another rule that's sneaky. It's called pace of progression. All right? You, as a student, have to complete 67% of the classes that you start at LCC or any other junior college. Simple rule. It is black and white. 67%. You think about that. You take 15 credits, you withdraw from one class, you complete 10, you've just completed 67% of your classes. Right? You're at the break-even point right now. That tips in a good direction. You still are in good academic standing, but you've got no more ground to your slack in your rope is taken up. It is so important because of this rule that your first quarter, your second quarter at LCC, you do well. Or any other junior college. Clark, Centralia, any other place? Your first quarter here has to be a good quarter. Put a little pressure on it. You gotta do well. The second quarter at LCC, you gotta do well. You build up a foundation, so now if you slip up later on, you have such a percentage built up that you're not close to that 67%. You're like 87% or 90%. But you come in and you mess up that first quarter, you're having to pay out the difference until you can get back to that 67%. So the best analogy I can give you, the best example I can give you is if what I've seen students do is come in and not be ready for college. They come in that first quarter, they take 15 credits, they get in 3 weeks, they realize they're overwhelmed, they haven't procrastinated, and they're not getting stuff done. They withdraw from those classes. They get W's. That counts. It's attempted credit classes. They think they're okay. They come back 3 years later. They're now prepared and ready for college, but they need help financially from the federal government. They go in, and financially is going to tell them you have to complete 36 credits on your own in order to get back to that 67%. And now that person has a hard time going to school because they have to pay for that first 3 quarters on their own. Right? And they don't even realize it at the time. Right? And so, and there's no grandfather. So, how you did before, so there's a lot of people out there right now that are going to be struggling when they do decide to come back. Question?
Okay, so I completed 4 quarters, and out of Moses Spokane. Came here, I withdrew from classes that I was registered for in football for this year, but I moved here and moved in those classes. So what does that mean for me? So I completed, I believe, it's close to 60 credits already. So where would I be?
I don't know exactly where you are in that mix. What I do know is if you're going to school and you're receiving financial aid, you're past that 67% rule because they would catch that. So I would still say in your situation, because of those 15 withdrawal credits, that I would, be ready to do really well in school and never have to worry about it. Counts as an F, it counts as a withdrawal, it counts as vanquished, meaning the student didn't show up the first week of school, so the teacher removes them from the class. There could be one or two others. I don't know what the time is. There's one for that. What's that? There's one other who's off the top of my mind, but the key thing is withdrawal. You withdraw, that counts. Anything that's not passed. But that's different. You have to have a C or better. You get a C minus, you have to take that class again, but then you still get that grade. So that's not working against you necessarily. Okay? 67%. I just want you to use all your resources. Use tutoring, use all the resources available to you so we don't get ourselves in that situation. It's just important how you start off the first 2 quarters in campus. Do well. Use all the resources you can possibly use in order to do well. Any questions? Good.
Right. Do I have to go to the specific
So we have all of our math tutors are reversing for every.
Yeah.
Okay.